a cute little baby. He's a cute little baby. He's a cute little baby. Oh, what is that? Who is that baby? It's the cute baby. Oh my goodness. It's the cute baby. Yes. Oh, yes. Hello, it's Pickled Pandas. Wait, there we go. I know where I am. Hello, it's Pickled Pandas again, and today is assignment number 2, which is how do you deal with negativity in your homeschool? And there was a lot of sub-questions that went with that question, so I'm just going to do my best to kind of not do this. I'm in my living room. Whoa. So much light coming from over there. Sorry about that. Okay, and I'm just looking over here because I'm looking at myself. Anyway, assignment number 2 is how you deal with negativity in your homeschool. And I actually have a little graphic. I'm going to have to sit down real quick. Okay, you ready? All right, we're sitting down. And I might have to stay seated now because then I'm not going to be swaying. Because for some reason, if you hold a baby, you have to sway. Do this number when you're out. Do you ever do that? You're talking to somebody and you're holding a baby. And then all of a sudden somebody else asks to hold the baby, and they're holding the baby, and you're not holding the baby anymore, but you're still swaying. For some reason, you're still swaying, because that's what parents do. Here's my graphic. Okay, so here's my graphic for how I deal with negativity, and as you can see on this side right here, it says cares given, and then I have ages down below at the bottom. So we have from age 20 all the way up to age 30, which is where I am now, 31 or 32, 31, I think I'm 31, I don't know. I'm 30 at least. So here we have cares given, and you can see that when I was 20, I had a lot that I cared about. Every time somebody said something about us homeschooling and all of the language, all of the crap, there we go, all of the crap that we would get for homeschooling, you see it was very high, many cares given, and I would not deal with it very well. And then as you see, I progressed down to here where I currently am, around 30-ish, since I don't know my age, because that's me. I have 0 cares given. I just, you don't care. That's how I deal with it now. I think it would be more helpful to this video, maybe, to look at the baby. I'm sorry, I get distracted so easily. I think it would be more helpful for this video if I were to, yes, there's a map beside me. Gosh, we're such homeschoolers. Can we just not be so typical? Okay. I'm going to talk about the beginning of this little chart graph thing here, where in the beginning of our homeschool and when I had a lot of cares that I gave. And it was a lot of negativity from absolutely everybody encountered, even before we had our first child, because my husband and I, first of all, we were dating and we picked out baby names. That's how serious we were when we were dating each other. And we also discussed homeschooling while we were still dating. So, I mean, this is just something that we already knew we were going to do our best to try to do it. And we were able to do it. So fantastic. We were able to do it. Well, people around us didn't think it was so fantastic, and they were not helpful at all. So, pregnant with our first child, and people, for some reason, when you are pregnant with your first child, the questions they ask you, please don't ask people these questions, like, are they going to be going to public school, is a question that I had when I was pregnant. Are you going to use cloth diapers or disposable diapers? Now, I'm bad about asking this question just because it's something I'm passionate about, and I like to help people. It's like, hey, if you want some cloth diapers, I'll buy you some, or disposable, I'll buy you some for your diaper shower, you know, things like that. I try to be helpful at least. I feel like most people are negative. That's a whole different ballpark. I digress. Okay, so yeah, all the questions. I mean, it started when I was pregnant with our first child, and then when I actually started homeschooling him and not sending him off to pre-K. I mean, I consider school from the start because we taught him how to do sign language as a baby, and people also were negative about that. He's never going to learn how to talk right if you do all this sign language. He's just talking with his hands. And yes, he was lazy, but he communicated and didn't get discouraged or aggravated because we didn't understand him. He communicated through his hands, and we were okay with that. He was a late talker to most people. He talked to us. He talked to his favorite people at church, but not my fault if he doesn't like you. And no, that sounds so mean. But seriously, he would only talk to there was just a handful of people outside of us that he would talk to. I would have to say there was a 3-step process. He's so cute. There is a 3-step process that I used to go through because that number sounds good. I'm going to make stuff up as I go. Yeah, I am. He knows me well. Okay, so first, when somebody would tell me a negative comment, I mean, this is before we even started actually homeschooling, because, yeah, okay, there's so much editing that's going to have to be done. Ba 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 ba. Okay. So when we would hear all of these negative comments, and yes, it started early, so we heard them for many a year, I would first... Okay, so when we would hear these comments, and we would hear them for many a year, because it started before our first was even born, and continued for years after, even, I mean, it just continued for too long. Way too long. So, it probably still continues, and I just ignore it now. But, backtrack. I would hear it, and I would get incredibly discouraged and frustrated. Maybe, is that one or two? Let's just say that's one. Discouraged and frustrated. That's how I would deal with it. And then I'll try to justify myself by reciting a bunch of facts that I knew from rote about the evils of public school. And I don't really think that public school is evil. But I was trying to defend myself, and yeah, I would get a little passionate about it because it's something I feel it's like, well, I mean, I'm not going to say something against you for public schooling. Don't say something against me for homeschooling. We're all doing what's best for our children. We're all trying to do what's best for our children, so don't judge each other. We're all in this together. We're all parents trying to raise our kids the best we know how. It's ridiculous. But back then, no, we were on the attack. And it was just ugly. And then I would get depressed about it. So, I mean, there's my 3-step process there. I didn't even remember what I just said, but I know there was 3 of them at least because this finger was just up. So, yep. So it started off rocky. It started off really ugly, and I didn't deal well with it. So, fast track to me turning 30, and I swear it happened after I turned 30, not before. But it was just like the day I turned 30. From then on, I have just had 0 cares given for most aspects of my life. When people try to tell me that what I'm doing is wrong about anything, I'm just like, okay, that's nice. Sure, bye. Because I don't have time to deal with you. I really don't. And I don't think anybody has time to deal with that kind of negativity because, like I said, we're all in this together. We're all parents. What happened to community, people? This is why people are going to YouTube for community, because we're not receiving it where we should. But at least people close to us now are more positive, and I think it's because it's 2 things. It's because I've been doing it for so long, and my oldest is 8 going on 9 this year, so I think that you can see a progression, and having conversation with my 8-year-old, other people other than us, having conversations with him can see it's like, he's not a moron. He's not just sitting around playing video games all day. He is learning. He is being educated, and it's nothing to worry about. Just because we do things differently from public school doesn't mean that my kid is not learning just as much as your kid. If I were to sum things up, I would say that I dealt with negativity very negatively in the beginning of our homeschooling life. And now, after doing it for so long, my oldest is going to be 9 this year, so I feel like I'm more comfortable with my idea of I'm more comfortable with what we do, and I don't feel like I have to defend myself anymore. So when people come up to us and want to say something negative about our homeschooling, or I'm more likely to be more positive about it now and not be on the attack right back at them, and instead kind of deal with them lovingly, which is important because that's what we're supposed to do. Okay, so I had to pull that because I knew I was going to forget something important, and there's 2 things. Do you have to justify yourself? And I don't think that we need to justify ourselves, because just as any other parents, they don't need to justify their choices for the education of their children. None of us have to justify it. We do what is best, and that should be enough. And then the second thing is, Oh my gosh. Oh no, not just the second thing. There's more. You never have time anymore. Okay. That's true about being a parent. Period. I have time. I do have time in between where I could, instead of spending time with my kids, instead of playing games with them, and instead of pushing them on the swing, I could be cleaning the house, I could be reading a book, I could be tons of other things, but it's the choice you make, and it's the choices we all make. So not having time anymore because of being a homeschooler, it's being a parent you don't have time anymore, and choosing to be an active parent, you're not going to have that much time unless you get up super early or stay up super late like I do, which is why I'm kind of ditzy for the most part of the morning, because I stay up super late to spend time with my husband after we put the kids to bed, and it's important that we have that time together as husband and wife. So, but time is out the window when you have kids. Even if you just have a kid, time is out the window. I could never do it. The people who say I could never do it, yes you could if you had to. If you were called to homeschool your kids or your kid, you could. You could do it because that's what you're called to do. Just like at your job, your boss asks you to do something that you think is unsurmountable. This task is just impossible. But then you do it because you have to, because it's your job. And if it came to it where public school, something was just going really wrong, if your child just wasn't learning, the teachers just weren't getting through, or they were getting bullied, and just nobody's listening to you as the parent when you're going to the school and saying, hey, you got to work with my kid on this. If you had to pull your kid from school, you could do it. So to the people who say they couldn't do it, yes, you could. You could find a way, even if you work full-time. You could find a way. You could have a proxy do the teaching for you. One of them that breaks my heart into itsy bitsy teeny weeny little pieces that get scattered in the wind is when school starts back. I get excited whenever we take a little break and then we get back to school and the kids are super ready to get back into a regular school routine, instead of me telling them, it's like, can we just read a magazine? I don't feel good if I'm sick. Or can we just do this and look stuff up on the internet to kind of do what you're wanting, you know, some kind of schooly kind of thing that you're wanting to do. Schooly is another word I made up. You like it? I know you do. You're gonna start using it all the time now. But he's a sweet little baby. It just breaks my heart, though, when people are just so ready to get rid of their kids. Because, okay, now if I wasn't homeschooling, whenever we take a break in homeschooling, the kids get wild and out of control is because they're out of their rhythm. They're out of our little routine that we do every day, and they just don't know exactly how to act to that. And we've always gone year-round with schooling, so whenever we take a break that's longer than normal, and we're not doing some kind of, at least Bible reading and little craft or something every day, then if we're not doing a little something every day, they don't know what to do, and they get a little crazy, so I can understand it to a point. But when you tell a complete stranger come up to me and say, I just cannot wait for that school bus to come next week and they go back to school, cannot wait for them to be gone. There's going to be a day when you cannot wait for them to hopefully come back and visit you. When they are grown up and you don't see them, they're at college, they have their own life, they're not at college, maybe they're just working to make ends meet and they don't have time to visit you, or maybe you never formed that relationship. There's just, I can't fathom. I cannot. These years are the most precious. My kids are going to be teenagers before I know it. They're going to be adults. And I hope that we're laying the foundation now that later on they will want to see me and visit me, or me be okay with me coming in, bringing them meals and stuff. I know. It's precious time. Because before long, you're going to be moving and crawling and talking. You're not going to be a sweet little baby that wants to be held. You're be grown up. And I just don't get it. So I think my time is up. I think my baby is done with me talking to my phone. What are you looking at? You look at the bright lights, aren't you? That high contrast. Yes. So I'm done. I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.
I'm hungry.
Always hungry? How about popcorn? Popcorn and tea time. Never want what I ask.
No.
Hey, little baby. Little baby, little baby. Hey, dear.